we're playing Counter-Strike Global Offensive, which has officially launched now. It is live. I'm playing on Train. This is a defusal map, and I'm going to try to not die. I'm hoping because the game is out of beta testing that maybe the people in it are not quite as good anymore, but I've been watching this match for a little bit, and people are pretty good. So
yeah, I mean...
I may kind of get destroyed here.
It's nice. I like the fact that they put in things like classic competitive and classic casual so that you can, you know, perhaps have a little bit of a distinction for players that aren't quite as amazing as others. Though, I mean, if you're an amazing player, you can still join classic casual. But, oh,
yeah, I got everyone swearing at each other over chat. It's still a really intense experience. Counter-Strike Global Offensive, I mean, yes, it's a new version of Counter-Strike, but it is still very much Counter-Strike.
Yeah, I mean, if people watched the video the other day, they noticed that Mitch and I said it's odd, you know, to play a shooter these days where you can't look down iron sights, you know, and that's all it is. It just feels odd, but that doesn't mean that it feels bad. Like, the thing about Counter-Strike is there's literally no other game that makes getting a headshot as satisfying. I've never felt as good about killing someone as I do in Counter-Strike.
Oh, I'm sorry. I totally failed. No, I did.
You did your job, but it just didn't turn out so hot.
Wow, you got MVP even though I fucking killed those 5 kids.
Everyone is swearing. Okay, I have the bomb now. It's on me. I can't screw this up. I'm gonna follow these guys over to B. Anthony, what were you saying? I wasn't even paying attention, so I was trying to not die.
No. It's just that I was talking about how me and Mitch, who's reviewing the game for IGN, talked about how, you know,
I'm dead.
It feels odd to play a shooter these days where there isn't iron sights and stuff like that or sprint, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't feel bad. It's just Counter-Strike feels very different, and as a result of that feeling different, though, like in my opinion, like Counter-Strike also manages to make the most satisfying headshots of any game I've ever played.
Yeah, I mean, there are some. If you've never played Counter-Strike before, there are some differences to your move speed you can make, even though there really isn't a sprint. Your kind of default move is a run. So, and your run speed differs depending on which weapon you actually have active. You can also slow down to walk, and you can crouch, and that all affects your aim. So you can see your aiming kind of cursor in the middle of the screen.
Right now it's gigantic.
As you're running around. He's just running right now. Then if you stop, it'll contract, and that is all very important to where your shots land.
So right there, he actually crouched too. Yeah, I mean, you know, and another thing that Counter-Strike does that other games don't is sound is important in all games, obviously, but in Counter-Strike, like, when you see it come down to, like, the last 1v1 match, it is not uncommon that you see people just very slowly hold shift the whole time and just walk. They'll walk everywhere they go because they don't want their equipment on their body to make any sound and give their position away. Like, real Counter-Strike players play with the volume turned way the fuck up.
Yeah, sound is incredibly important to the experience, which is, why people like what I'm doing right now will just move around walking so that they don't show up on mini-maps, or, you know, even if you're just listening to the headphones, you can hear people's footsteps and things like that. So it is vitally important that you manage your sound as well as your aim, and there's so many things to take. Oh my goodness, we pointed real fast. There are so many things to take into account while playing the game that it can definitely be overwhelming for a newcomer, somebody who's never played Counter-Strike before. You know, it's not a forgiving experience, and it is going to be familiar, because I guess most people who maybe started playing shooters within the last, I don't know, I guess 5 years or so, you know, and have been sort of along with the Call of Duty style shooter, you know, this is not going to feel like the same thing. But at the same time, you know, I can totally understand the argument that people are like, oh, you know, Counter-Strike should evolve, it needs to have different mechanics.
Yeah, I mean, so...
but I mean, so the thing. Sorry, I was just trying to shoot.
You
got
to focus sometimes. That's the reality of Counter-Strike.
This is not an easy game to talk and play. It's really not easy at all, because as soon as you move your focus off, oh my goodness, as soon as you move your focus off of the experience, somebody's probably going to shoot you right in the face, and then you're dead. That's it, and then you're sitting out for the rest of the round. But you know, what I was saying is, you know, they could have changed the mechanics of Counter-Strike, but you know, it's a really popular competitive game. And if you switch around the core mechanics of really what makes it Counter-Strike, then it's not Counter-Strike anymore. Then it's just a different experience at that point.
Right. Well, and it was.
I think he's dead.
And then it's and then it's kind of like you said too, right? You also run, when you were talking to me personally, you were talking about how you start to run into the danger of potentially homogenizing all games as well, and it's nice to have something like Counter-Strike that's out there and that is different. You know, again, people watched that video and got really mad hearing me and Mitch talk, but we were just talking merely about how different it feels, you know, like, and that's not a bad thing. It's just different.
Yeah, it's something that does distinguish itself from the modern landscape, specifically because it refuses to change, which I think works in its favor because in that way it manages to stand out. Because
exactly.
Otherwise it's like, oh, you know, I wish all shooters were the same, and it's like, no, that's boring.
Right.
And Counter-Strike very much, the people who are good at Counter-Strike before are still going to be good at Counter-Strike now because, yeah, the core elements of what make it Counter-Strike have very much been kept intact, which I think has a lot to do with its popularity and, like, the competitive scene and things like that, where... I mean, you see similar things in how Blizzard updates StarCraft 2, you know.
Sure.
StarCraft 2, sure, they could have removed base building. You know, they changed a lot up about the specifics of the mechanics, the units, the units, not Unix.
Very important distinction.
It's a very different thing. Units and strategies that you can use there. But, you know, the base game is the same. You collect minerals, you collect Vespene gas, you build your base. Base building is, you know, and expansion and things like that are just as important a part of the game as the actual attacking and things like that. So, you know, Blizzard chose to keep that experience very similar, and, you know, it just has to do with the competitive scene. It's like something, so, I mean, I think Dota 2 is a good example. Dota, obviously a very competitive game, very popular in esports. When that game is actually out of beta, do you criticize it because it only has one map? Like, that sounds like crazy talk, but, you know, that's the type of thing that I'm sure, you know, some people who maybe aren't as familiar with that style of game are going to consider. I'm going to pick up a different gun here.
Yeah, well, some things that my friends have talked about that are really hardcore Counter-Strike players, they really like Go, though, because it maintains the mechanics. Though they said there are a lot of things that hardcore players have to get used to, like, you know, obviously it's like the change from StarCraft 1 to 2, right? They changed things subtly, but very importantly, like the M4 spread in particular, I've been told, is very different now than my friends got used to playing original Counter-Strike. So for them, they don't even use the same guns they went to. They tried to buy the same loadouts they used to do, and it's totally different for them now. Even things like when you zoom in with a sniper rifle, now you can't move with it and without it having like a distorted visual effect, which is totally different. My friends said they used to run around all the time with just zoomed in because it didn't matter. Ooh.
Oh my god, everyone just got completely destroyed. I am moving.
So yeah, I mean, you only have one life per round, but it actually goes by really fast. And I've actually always really liked that mechanic in some games. I know that some people don't like to sit out, and I get that, like in certain things that are a lot faster, like the Call of Duties and stuff, but in this, and like even like old Call of Duty 2 that had a search and destroy mode, like I loved the idea of having one spawn, because it actually gives a chance for like one person to become like a hero of the team and just go on like an amazing kill streak. It makes that kill streak especially significant because they can literally wipe out the whole team.
Yeah, and it really puts the pressure on because you're on display. If you manage to stay alive, you know, your team's really relying on you, and more
they're
importantly,
all watching.
They're watching you, and you know they're talking trash behind your back.
Yes.
I mean, it's happening. It happens all the time, even in extremely public matches with maybe, you know, players who really aren't very good. You definitely get trash talk all over the place. I'm just going to fall. Oh, my God.
Oh, flashbanged. Yeah, being flashbanged in this game is pretty brutal.
Okay.
It's also really hard to get grenade kills, I find. But, man, when you do, it is so satisfying. Like, that's the thing about it just in general. Like, everything is hard in this game, but when it happens, it feels amazing.
Yeah.
When you get a perfect shot, even when you get the world's, like, luckiest pistol draw headshot that doesn't make any sense, you know, I love that.
Well, yeah, I mean, the experience of playing Counter-Strike is you kind of peel back layers of its complexity.
Nice.
It's to the point where, you know, let's say you do finally get that first headshot, and, you know, it feels awesome, and you're like, okay, you know, this is something I want to happen again. Like, you start to realize all the things you need to do, how careful you need to be with movement to actually repeat that process, and sort of chasing that rush becomes something that really keeps you logging in again and again and playing in different matches and things like that.
I feel like we should have you not talk for a second, only because it's 1v2 right now, and
what?
You're the one.
What? Oh my God. I haven't even been paying attention. I have to go find the bomb. I think it's match point. My entire team. So exactly what we were talking about before is happening right now in terms of my team relying on me.
You.
And the bomb is over here, and they're probably looking
watching it. Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing for Charles, who's playing as a terrorist. The only way he can win is to either kill the counter-terrorist or to plant the bomb and have it actually go off.
But
so
they know
that,
I'm
so they're going to watch the bomb or plant up in here. Oh God!
Oh, I freaked out. I blew it. Oh my God. Everyone hates me right now.
Good job, man. Good
Yeah.
job. I love cocking my
It
ass.
happens.
Everyone's yelling at me.
Shut the fuck up, Kyle.
Oh no, that guy's just making horrible comments because he has a terrible username. I wish I hadn't totally failed on that one. That would have been better if I'd been able to, you know, do something instead of. I mean, my aim was just jittering all over the place. My hand is shaking right now.
Well, that's the thing that I like about Counter-Strike is because of your lives are so significant too. It does make it almost frightening sometimes when someone gets the drop on you because your life actually really matters.
All right, I haven't actually figured out the
weapons that you really
the
like.
different weapon key, because I mean eventually what you would do is just you hit B and then these all have numbers associated with them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then so you would hit like B 1.
3.
You know, if you want the 5-7 or the Deagle, which I do, you know, B1-4, and then you just kind of automatically get into that buy pattern when you enter into a match. So you just hit, you know, that, and then for your grenades and for your rifles and everything like that. So you have that custom kind of.
Yeah, if that's all really
association.
intimidating to you too, there's an F1 key that auto buys based on the amount of money you have, which is really nice.
That guy's dead.
Oh wow, I can't believe someone actually got shot with the electric gun.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
My terrible aim is not going to work with this Desert Eagle. You have to be especially accurate with this because we're planting here, so I'm going to protect the area. Oop. But the Desert Eagle is pretty slow fire rate, so
Very
you really
strong.
you have to make each shot count. And I totally missed there.
Oh no.
What is he doing?
He was coming in for a knife kill. He was determined.
Yeah, I mean, he probably should have killed me considering my initial shots there were so far off. But
Yeah.
I managed to make it through a little bit.
These early
so
rounds.
now I can, I mean, I made money that round, so now I can afford some better stuff. You can see here, I already have a Kevlar and a vest that's
Yeah,
bought
that's
for
very
me
important.
in this mode. There's the Zeus, which is the stun gun, which I'm not going to use.
I can't believe that guy got killed with the Zeus. I've never seen that. That's really awesome.
I'm going to go with the, so 3, and then if I wanted the PP here, I would hit 5, and then I've got that, so I'm going to try this out.
Yeah, I mean, you'll always see people pull out their knives constantly because that's the way you run, and then rapidly swap between them.
Oop. That. I'm going to go back here.
So this is also, I mean, it's interesting too that, I mean, this isn't the first Counter-Strike, but it also came out on other platforms. I'm curious to see how people will take to that game on other platforms because this is just such a PC game.
It is, and yeah, I guess that is something worth mentioning. Is this is actually a multi-platform release? Oh man,
Although
looks
on
like everyone's
PS3,
getting wiped out over here.
On
So
PS3, you can at least play with the mouse and keyboard, which is pretty awesome.
or the Move controller. Who's excited?
I neglected to mention that.
Oh, I got one. All right. I feel
And you recovered the bomb.
I feel slightly better about myself.
See, one of the bad impulses I had to get over when I started playing this too was the need to reload after every shot.
Yeah, I actually haven't reloaded after that one, and maybe that will haunt me. I'm gonna see if I
No,
can
you
actually.
have 58 bullets in your clip, man. The thing is that there's no perk system or anything like that
I'm
in
gonna
this
try and
game.
play it.
And since there's no perks or anything, you're not going to be able to slow your reload. You really have to.
Yay!
You really have to make your shots count.
I'm gonna hide. I'm gonna hide back here. See what happens.
Yeah. So if Charles were to sit here and still, and the guy didn't come and look around,
Shit.
Charles would actually be able to hear when he tries to disarm it too. It makes a pretty distinct sound. Oh no, he does not. Okay, good.
So that guy was just being a jerk.
Yeah, he was just determined to try and knife you. Well, it's still 2-on-1 right now.
Did we go knives only and I just didn't get the message?
No, those guys are definitely not knives only. Oh.
Crap.
But you might have held off the bomb long enough.
Oh, he's got a kit.
Oh, wait, he screwed up.
Oh, he missed.
He missed. Oh my god,
Blow
oh my god, blow up.
Oh.
It was so close.
You got the achievement.
Man.
Oh, that's too bad.
But
I really wish that would have worked out. So there are other modes. I'm probably going to end it there because that's most likely the best I'm going to do
That was a pretty good
in this
highlight.
play session. Actually, maybe I'll just try one more. See, that's the thing, though. I mean, you have one good round, and
I
then
know.
it's just like, all right, well, I've got to make that happen again.
Yeah.
I really want...
And
you know,
chances are you'll die without ever firing a shot the next time you try and play.
Yeah, and okay, and just to alert you to my physical condition, both of my hands are shaking right now with basically adrenaline or excitement or whatever you want to call it. Oh boy. Oh, I shouldn't have reloaded there.
Nice. But that just showed right there. See that guy ran across that alleyway firing. Totally inaccurate. Like, you cannot just
he was
like
shooting
that.
from the hip, and that's just not... Let's see if he tries to come back here. He doesn't really have to because the bomb is up
Oh,
to
yeah,
the
but
left.
your teammates are all right there, too. So they probably got him.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah. Okay, we're moving up now. Oh, that guy got murdered. Really sneaky hiding spot here, though.
Oh, nice. I really like the FAMAS.
Yep. So we actually have the bomb, so we're moving up in a squad. I mean, teamwork is so important.
Yeah, it's 3-on-1
game.
right now. I think you guys got this round.
It looks like he just gave himself away over here.
Oh,
Nope.
UK Panda. It's okay, though.
Crappy shooting.
It's still 2-on-1. The bomb's been planted. The nice thing, too, is...
We should win. I mean, we should... I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, if you're ever in a game and it has to fill out with bots, and you're playing with bots, if you ever die, you can assume control of the bots, too, which is really nice.
Yeah, that's true if you're just practicing or something like that.
Exactly.
All right, so I'm going to try one round with... I want to go back to the AK.
Yeah, the AK is definitely the bread and butter of the counter-terrorist. Super powerful, wildly inaccurate if you fire it just automatic from the hip.
Well, so the first bullet, I think it's pretty reliable that it's going to go exactly where you're targeted.
Right.
So if you can make that count, I think.
But after that, though, the lift and stuff on it is just pretty bad. So you really have to.
Crap.
You probably can't hear it over the mics, but Charles, click, 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 as opposed to just holding the button down.
Yeah.
That's really important.
Nope, this guy is not really doing much here. So I just got killed, and so that guy I was fighting, I barely hit him, mostly because I was aiming terribly. But it just gives you a sense of if you're really not doing exactly what you should be, you're just going to fail.
Yeah.
You're just going to fail horribly. It's not even going to be close. So you do have that huge, and the term is skill gap between beginners and people who really know what they're doing, who have excellent reflexes and the ability to really stop the cursor exactly where they need to, and also are very aware of the individual gun behaviors and things like that. And map awareness is also key. Even if your aim doesn't really improve, you will do a lot better in Counter-Strike as you learn the layouts of the maps, where good hiding spots are, generally where CTs and Ts will filter while they're playing through the map. Just having an awareness of the overall flow of the match can improve your performance dramatically. But of course, I mean, obviously aiming and reflexes are going to rule over all other aspects. And so so this is the final life. I'm not going to play again. Oh jeez. I should not have poked out there. But again, I was not that far around the corner, and it's just that may not have seemed, well, I mean, it was a mistake. In Counter-Strike terms, that's a huge mistake. But to somebody who's never played Counter-Strike before, it's like, okay, well, you're just talking, inches here. And yes, that's how it works.
That guy probably clipped your arm and killed you.
Yep, that is how it works in this game. You have to be so careful if you really want to meet with success. So, I mean, Global Offensive, it has some additional modes of play and things like that. Classic maps return in slightly altered form.
Even the zombie mod returns.
I really like the reworked version of original Dust. Dust 2 hasn't really been touched that much, but Dust 1 has. And the changes there are really cool. So if you've been away from Counter-Strike for a while, yeah, I would absolutely recommend checking this out. It's not really that expensive. It's like what, like $15? $15 on Steam. I'm sure there are a lot of people who are going to be like, oh, screw Global Offensive. I'm still going to play 1.6, and that's fine. 1.6 is still a very popular game, still a very good game. We'll see in the future if Valve really does anything to advance the Counter-Strike formula quite a bit, but I don't, at this point, I don't feel like that's really a necessity or something that really that many people are asking for. There are a lot of shooters out there.
Yeah,
there are so many shooters with huge online modes, etc., and a lot of them that just try to basically do what Call of Duty does.
Correct.
And just ape that model. So the fact that this is still a distinct style of play, that it hasn't caved to that kind of pressure, I think that's something I think that's something worth celebrating, and one of the reasons I still like playing this game, even if I am really, really rusty at it, because I've not played Counter-Strike.
I'm sure you and many other people
are. So next we're gonna hop over to Diablo and check out some of the changes that came out in the 1.0.4 patch. Okay, so this is Diablo 3 post-patch 1.0.4, where Blizzard actually made a whole bunch of changes to the game. They rebalanced every class, a lot of different skills, including the Barbarian, who I'm playing right now. I'm playing with a skill build that's probably really stupid. I just wanted to check out some of the skills that I really hadn't used in a while, like Cleave. In terms of my primary Fury builders here, that build up this globe so that I can use...
your Fury spenders.
Yeah, so I can use my Fury spender skills. I never used Bash. I never used Cleave. I always used Fury because Fury used to stack attack speed,
friendly
bonuses, and then if you used Gathering Storm, it could also stack... Nope, not correct. It could also, if you used Maniac, it could also stack damage. So that was really useful. There was never really any reason to switch off of that. So Blizzard buffed Bash and Cleave in addition to some of the runes. And so now I'm trying Cleave. I was using Bash before, and I put in Whirlwind here. So I tried to kind of make a build where I'm going to get more Fury back a little bit so that I can keep Whirlwind going. And then I have a heal on Whirlwind so that when I crit with Whirlwind, I get back 1% of my maximum life. I have Battle Rage on here that boosts my critical hit chance and attack damage. Overpower, which the cooldown for resets faster with critical hits, so that ties into what else I've built on here. In addition to, I have it runed so that it heals for 8% of my maximum life for every enemy hit, and then I have Ground Stomp for a stun, and I have Leap to get out of situations, and also have it runed to stun enemies for 3 seconds. So I have 2 stuns there, and an escape, and a couple ways to heal and boost damage. So we'll see what happens here. I am toward the end of Act 1 in Inferno, and I mean, I've noticed the whole game is, I mean, it's definitely easier.
Yeah, I mean, they've definitely done a lot to improve survivability in general. Like, whether you're playing on Hell or not, even in like, I mean, whether you're playing Inferno or not, even on Hell, you'll notice there's increased survivability. They've done a lot, especially with the champion packs, to make them a little bit less like, you know, pounding your face against the brick wall. Which, you know, some people won't like that, but I actually find that it makes the game a little bit more playable.
Yeah, no, I mean, it feels less like I'm just constantly being punished. And the other thing, you know, if you've heard about it, the Paragon levels here, they've added basically 100 extra levels to the game that you can gain. You gain experience just like you did before you hit level 60, so you actually get those experience chains now for blowing up objects and killing enemies, which is cool. That was a part of the game I kind of missed after I hit 60, was being able to chain together kills and get experience bonuses. So now that actually means something as you gain Paragon levels.
Yeah, you're actually 1 level into your Paragon.
I am. I'm 1 level in, and so that what that gives me is it gives me stat bonuses when I gain a Paragon level, like a normal level up would, and then it also gives me plus 3% magic find and plus 3% gold find, so that you get more of that with every single Paragon level up, so that basically by the time you hit Paragon level 100, which would take a while because the gain isn't that fast, you would have plus 300 magic find and gold find,
which is the cap,
which is where the cap is, and then your Nephilim Valor bonus stacks on top of that.
Yeah, and they've also...
And the Nephilim Valor also gives you an experience bonus, so you there's more of an incentive to stack that up as well, which you would be doing anyway, because that's basically the flow of the end game, is to kill champion packs, get Nephilim Valor, and yeah, stack that up to 5 and get as many items as possible, because yeah, you're just basically hunting for the cool items, and the cool items like the legendaries in particular, and I haven't seen any of the new legendaries since I started up. I've been looking for one, but I have not found one, because they're all different now. They have different effects. They've basically been powered up to be made more useful in endgame, and also they can have special proc effects, like they'll summon a creature, and that creature will have fire chains on it, so you'll get some cool different abilities from taking out the champion packs and things like that for your best chance at getting those new legendary items. Unfortunately, the old legendary items are still the same.
Yeah, I mean, they've really tried to do a lot to go a long ways towards appeasing the fans that were, you know, they played through, and they maybe even played through Inferno, and they didn't feel like they were getting rewards. I mean, people like you, Charles, who maybe haven't played through Inferno, but you've been going through a lot, that you would say prior to patch 1.0.4, you would play, and then at the end of the night feel like you gained nothing. There was no loot that was worth anything, and you would probably not made any gold from all your repair costs from dying so much.
Yeah, that's true. And Blizzard also brought down repair costs for high-level gear. That's something that was really irritating to me, was just how expensive repair costs were, because, yeah, I was basically going through and dying on champion packs, and then having to spend basically all of the money I made on repair costs. So I wasn't seeing any actual benefit from continuing to play through the game. And a nice thing that Blizzard's done with the champion packs is they no longer have the possibility of just gaining all of their health back when you're in the middle of a... If you die, basically. Oh, here we go, champion pack.
Nice.
If you die while fighting them, they won't sometimes just gain all their health back. Their health will stay consistent so that you can die, can return to fight them again.
Oh, Desecrator Shield, Frozen, Molten. Jeez. It's nice, though, that, like, even right now, you're not using a skill build necessarily optimized for survival, but it's not like you're getting blown up in a heartbeat either.
No, I mean, this is... If I was actually playing in Act 2 and trying to make progress in the game, I would not have this skill build. I'm just testing out a skill build that I wouldn't really have used very often. Oh, God.
It's neat, too. Like, you'll notice when Charles sees those the ice balls now, you can actually see the AoE that they're going to do so that you can plan for it and adjust so that you're actually not in position to have to take it on the chin.
Get out of there.
Ooh,
So yeah, I'm basically I'm stunning and I'm gonna die. Yep. I shouldn't have ran onto the giant glowy lava stuff. Probably my own fault there. But yeah, now the penalty for dying in that instance won't necessarily be as bad.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been like 30,000 gold, by the time Charles had to go back previously and repair, which would be more than he would make in this dungeon, probably.
So after playing around with these changes for a bit, I like what Blizzard's done. I feel like they're listening to what people have been saying about Diablo 3 since it launched, and they're responding to that. It takes time for these changes to be made, but this is a huge patch. This made, a lot of changes to the game. I feel like it's more playable now.
Well, I mean, how did you feel about Diablo prior to the patch? Like I don't mean like that, but obviously for you, Charles, this was a game you were looking forward to for literally years.
Oh no!
And then the game comes out, and you're super excited, and you play through it, and I thought, it's like hearing the way people talk about it now, even like people that I know that enjoyed it. It sounds like they kind of thought the game was bad up until 1.0.4. And I don't feel like that's the case necessarily. Like, not even for you. It's not like you disliked the game.
No. So Diablo came out. I played it for like 80 hours obsessively. That's all I thought about during the day. That's all I did when I went back home at night. And then, work was annoying because it meant I couldn't play Diablo. So I just put up a bunch of Diablo content to justify my playing Diablo. I mean, I thought it was an amazing leveling experience. I wasn't a big fan of the story or anything like that, but I thought the core... Oh my God, what happened? Yeah, so stuff like this is irritating.
Oof.
Stop it. Okay, I live somehow. Single player lag, LOL, but I really enjoyed the leveling experience in Diablo 3. I had a great time with the game. It wasn't until I got to Inferno that I sort of started to get frustrated. But, I mean, it was a case where I would finish a difficulty setting, and I would immediately hit continue and start on another difficulty setting, and I would just keep playing. That doesn't happen with a lot of games that I play.
No, it really doesn't.
And I died again.
The interesting thing, too, is just that, like, a lot of people, they don't really... I guess they don't really think that, like, most people aren't going to reach Inferno. Like, that is not necessarily the majority of the 10 million people that are playing Diablo. And even the guys internally recognize that. Like, they have the metrics. One of the benefits of the game being always online is that they can examine metrics and see what people are using and adjust skills accordingly and figure out if something is way too difficult, Oh, man.
Yeah, and I mean, another thing that bothered me was actually more related to the auction house, which was just that it seems like the design basically forced you to go to the auction house to make progress in Inferno before. And that's something that, I mean, Jay Wilson, director on Diablo 3, just made a post. He was basically apologizing for some off-color comments he made about David Brevik, who's a co-founder of Blizzard North, and there was a whole mudslinging battle on the internet, lots of internet drama.
Yes.
But in that post, he was also talking about what's coming up for Diablo 3, and he mentioned that specifically. He said, look, I know people are upset that they feel like there's too much emphasis. I don't remember the exact wording, but just the emphasis on having to go to the auction house. Some people feel that takes away from the sense of achievement within the game, and I agree with that. Like, that's an issue I had with the game. Is just like I like to feel like I'm building my own item set. I'm getting my own discoveries. I like the auction house for being able to sell items on there if I'm going to make more gold or something like that. Like, that is a nice option. I appreciate that ability. But in terms of feeling like I'm forced into basically gold farming to scour the auction house for deals on gear that are required so that I can continue playing Inferno, that is irritating to me. I would rather find those items on my own. I would rather power through the content on my own instead of, wait for some golden economic opportunity to allow me to power through.
Yeah, I hear that. Like when I play any sort of RPG, whether it's this or Baldur's Gate or anything else, for me, I never want to spend money on an item. I always want everything to be found or gained through quests.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, there are still a lot of people who are, upset about basic design stuff in Diablo 3, namely, the switch your skills around at any time. Like, a lot of complaints have sprung up around that type of thing, which is really what, Blizzard said that they were going to do with this game from the beginning. They never really made much of a secret
I mean,
about
to me,
that.
that's always been one of the most exciting things about Diablo, was that I didn't have to get locked into a skill build, because I always hated the fact that when I played Diablo 2, I felt like I was making poor decisions with my skill points early on, and then I would regret them really a lot later on, and then the only way I would feel like I felt safe making a character was to go on and read a forum and follow someone else's build they had figured out.
Yeah, you would essentially have to do research before you played, more or less, to plot out your skill progression and make sure you didn't allocate something inappropriately.
Right, and it would also mean that I would get skills in those games that I would also never use, because I would never put any points into them, so I would never even get to see what they were like and decide for myself if I liked them or if I thought they were useful. And this, if I use a skill and I decide I don't like it, I switch it out, but I'll always still have access to it.
Yeah, and I mean, so everyone who gets so irritated now whenever there's any kind of Diablo-related news, well, not everyone, but some people completely flip out and, complain about Diablo being this terrible, oh my god, fire chains. Fire chains have been nerfed, by the way.
So have Arcane, which is nice because they do both of those.
Yes, that is a nice thing in this situation. But, Torchlight 2 is going to come out soon, and that game is much more of a classically styled Diablo experience, which makes sense because, some of the guys at Runic, were at Blizzard North.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think it'll be interesting to see how that game performs, only because it'll be a chance for people basically to vote with their dollars.
Yeah, and it's like, if you really... I just don't like the argument that I played Diablo 3 for 100 hours, and now I hate it. And it's like, but you played it for 100 hours, like, what are you talking about? Like, how do you not enjoy that experience? Like, why did you play it for that long then? Why did you buy it if you were so angry about it?
Yeah, that's the thing, is like a lot of people, I think that this is a game that people are going to play for a very long time, and for some people are like, well, no, I don't even play it anymore. But the majority of people have not put in 100 hours already. It's probably something that they've put in time slowly, or like they might get to Inferno over the course of a year or longer, for them, if ever. So for most people, they are not going to be able to marathon it in the same way as a lot of the most hardcore members of the audience. That Blizzard does want to make the game cater to them. It's just that they're trying to, they're managing two audiences, really. They want to make this game cater to a more casual audience that's picking it up, because obviously 10 million people are not all hardcore. And then they also have to try and cater to the people that are their bread and butter, their forum users, and the people that are the word-of-mouth people that talk about the game.
Yeah, it's true, and we'll see what happens after the PvP patch comes out. Blizzard, or Jay Wilson specifically, hinted in his forum post recently that Blizzard is working on a lot more than just PvP for the next patch. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means there's going to be, an entirely new layer of mechanics. He did also say in the post that he was not satisfied with the, quote-unquote endgame in Diablo 3, to use an MMO term, be just about the item hunt. He said that. He said, that Blizzard wanted to work on somehow rectifying that. I'm not sure how, because Diablo is definitely about the item hunt.
To me, it's always about the item hunt.
So I don't know what specifics there are in that regard, but they're clearly working on a lot more than just a PvP patch. So I think that's something that could be really interesting. And it's something like the difference between playing vanilla Diablo 2 and then Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction. There's a big difference there. There were a lot of new systems added in through the expansion, and it'll be very interesting to see how Diablo develops from this point forward, especially since it seems like Blizzard is committed to putting in pretty significant changes in the patches, and it's not
Yeah,
just
I mean,
like,
they're not afraid to radically change the game.
Wait for an expansion for stuff to change. It's like, nope, just changing it right now, and adding in more content as PvP comes in, which, you know, was obviously promised as part of the base game initially, but was not did not make it in time. So, you know, whatever they're doing with that, when I saw it before, when I saw the PvP mode, it was, you know, an arena PvP mode, and Blizzard said that they basically weren't building it as an esports style experience just because there's so many other factors to consider in the game. It's everyone's loot and everything like that. They're going to have different stats, and it'll just be crazy unbalanced with the amount of variation there is. But, you know, who knows what Blizzard's working on. Maybe they're working on a more standardized competitive mode. Maybe they're just taking a long time to make the arena mode. I don't know. Hopefully that's some information that we actually get some specifics on sometime soon. Oh my god, Arcane Orb. Get
Oh my
out
god.
Of here, Whirlwind. I don't know if I'm going to be able to... These guys hit really
I was
hard,
going to say,
by the way.
this is like a prime example, though, of a fantastic kiting that you've got going on.
Well, so, I mean, because I built a really stupid skill build, and I will freely admit that I'm using a really terrible skill build right now. It's not effective. It is not super effective. It is more effective at just being able to stun and run, essentially.
Your life regen is pretty crazy,
Get a
though,
couple
the whole
hits
time
in.
you run away.
I do some life regen. My armor, since I've been more interested in upgrading, since that's been slightly more... Oh, thank you for confusing him. Since that's been slightly more exciting, I have sacrificed some HP regen in some cases. But, I mean, my current build, I haven't really fully committed to a crit build or a defensive build. I kind of have a mix of the two in terms... I didn't show my passives off, but they're all mostly defensively oriented, so I'm not doing, like, super crits or anything like that. So yeah, that's why I'm just kind of straddling the line here. And I should have my Super Saiyan ability that turns my Barbarian into a giant warrior.
With gigantic hair.
He just slaughters everything, and that is something that I really should have on here. But,
One down.
I took it off just to make room for a different kind of skill build, because honestly, I was getting kind of bored with my previous Inferno build. I had the same skill build in, and it was, you know, the game was... you know, rolled around as like this type of thing where you could just switch in skills at all times, and it's going to be this really flexible experience. And it was throughout most of the experience until I got to Inferno, and then it was like, actually, pretty much this is the only build that works until I get better gear that can support other builds, which is basically, you know, you settle into that one defensive build that you know is going to keep you alive until you can really get the gear to support some type of crazier, riskier type of build.
2 down.
Yeah, I've almost got this.
Yeah, you totally
I'm
have
waiting
this,
for
yes.
everything. All right, I got my stuns back. There we go.
Not the best loot for how much work that was.
No, not. It was not, unfortunately.
But
I was really hoping
I know.
some kind of legendary would drop there, but unfortunately, no. I just want to look at... I mean, they're on auction, but I just want to have one and see how it operates. But I have not been able to find that yet. And here's my Nephilim Valor bonus. You
I was
can
going
see
to
it's
say,
stacked at 2 now.
At least you got a Nephilim Valor bonus, and you got experience.
I did.
mean, towards your next Paragon level.
Yes. I'm still building towards my Paragon level 2. So, I mean, this patch for me, it was exciting enough for me to log in. Whoops, I'm going the wrong way. Exciting enough for me to log in again. You know, it makes playing fun again because I feel like I can actually make progress, and I was making progress in Act 2, and I was trying that out as well. I think it's a step in the right direction. It doesn't fix everything in terms of the end game, really. But I feel like Blizzard is on the right path here, and they're doing the right kind of thing and really responding to what people have been saying. Obviously, they're not going to be able to respond to, you know, the exact most recent complaints people have had about it, because it takes a while to figure all this stuff out and implement it in game. But in terms of what they've done so far, I'm happy with how Diablo has been updated.
Yeah, I think it's definitely heading in a really good track to become an even better game over time.
Yeah, and I think or at least I hope, you know, PvP will make a big difference. So now we are going to move on to a smaller game that is not Counter-Strike or Diablo, and it is...
It's called Mutant Blob Attack.
Yes,
it's a small game from Drinkbox Software. Previously, this was a PSP Vita exclusive, so now it's coming out on PC. So
oh my God, we're stealing all the Vita's exclusives. In your face, Vita, because you're doing so well. Oh, sorry. All right, Anthony, what is happening right now? You're angry-looking, spiky blob of goo, and you just ate bolts?
So yeah, this is Tales from Space, Mutant Blob Attack, or Mutant Blobs Attack, and what it is it's a game from Drinkbox Studios. I believe they also made another PS3 exclusive game called Tales from Space something else. I forget what it was, but So what this one is it's almost like a little bit like Katamari in the sense that you're this little blob, and as you can see right now, I'm really small. Like you can see the lava lamp in the background and whatnot.
Is that a to scale lava lamp though?
Yeah, well, to what my blob's supposed to be. So your goal is always to grow your blob to the size where you can proceed. Like right now, I'm not big enough to absorb this cork there that's blocking my progress. So also this game, it was a PS3 Vita exclusive as we said just before, but this was one of, if not in my opinion, the best Vita game at launch. It's just this fantastic little downloadable game. I believe we gave it like a 9.5 or something like that. And the PC one, it's actually really fun. You don't even need a mouse to play it or anything like that. It's just pretty much the WASD keys, space to jump, and then you use, of all things, like the quotes keys to do this little slam down and break things.
Is that how you get through the pipe down there?
Yeah. So well, now that I'm big enough, I'll actually just be able to absorb the cork into my body.
Of course.
And then proceed down drains. That's the
thing.
thing.
What are you collecting? What are the blue things?
That's just kind of to improve your score that you see in the upper left, upper middle. I don't know where space.
What did you just eat? You ate some blue thing. It had an eyeball on it.
Yeah, that was a secret blob, for special, for secrets.
For secrets.
Yeah, for secrets. So the whole thing is like it starts off like this, right? It's very like one note. All you're doing is trying to smack. Suck in things, grow bigger. Eventually you'll get...
there's people back there.
Exactly. So eventually you'll get big enough that you can absorb people, and eventually it's like Katamari where you're like absorbing homes, and you're becoming an increasing terror to the whole entire world.
What is going on in that room back there?
I don't know, man.
That guy's just passed out. It looks like he spilled a milkshake on his shirt.
I think this is like drunk college kids is what it's supposed to be.
That guy's wandering around like he he looks like a zombie.
So that's the whole thing, is there's like a bit of platforming to it. As you can do wall jumps and that sort of business. But then later on, they also add different effects, like they magnetize your blob, and so then it becomes about whether or not you can effectively. Oh man, I'm not doing so well. It becomes about whether or not you can, I guess, alternate between being magnetized and not, so that you can very agilely stick to pipes at the right times to avoid really dangerous traps. Like the platforming on it starts off. This is the first level. So the game starts off really simple, but it gets really brutally difficult. And since I am a little amorphous blob, I can.
Can you not squeeze it?
I don't know what's going
happening.
on. I can definitely squeeze in there. I don't know why it's giving me a hard time right now. Let's see. What did I absorb?
Oh.
I absorbed something that was giving me trouble.
Is it the cork?
I
think it's the cork. You need those acorns.
Of course.
You can't just pass up those. Oh, there's an eyeball down there too, and a tooth.
Give me all of it.
Nope.
My evil face blob wants it all.
Is there a storyline behind the game, or is it just like
it's pretty much
you're getting
just
attacked by something?
No, yeah, you're a blob, and you're out
Hipster
to
juice.
You escaped, and you're trying to absorb everything and destroy the world.
Okay.
And so it pretty much just has like this really.
Oh my God! What's happening with that cat?
I know.
That's the School of Business. This is the greatest college I've ever seen. Why didn't I go to this college? Oh, so you can almost, your blob will hang on platforms.
Yeah, I mean, you have those little spikes. And
can you drop that toolbox?
You'll clip. Oh, that's a good call. I don't know.
Well, can you open the hipster juice? Because I feel like that's really important.
I think that's what I just came out of. So see, I came through. Oh, wow. So yeah, it's clearly the game doesn't take itself too seriously. That's obviously supposed to be PBR.
Can I just point out that Pabst Blue Ribbon is an awful beer, and people should really stop drinking it. It's terrible. I don't understand how that became a thing where people were like, oh, yeah, it's so cool to drink PBR. It's awful.
I guess it's because it's so cheap. That's the only thing I can think of.
There are lots of cheap beers.
So the levels only take a few minutes to complete. Then you're rated on your score and kind of the size that you manage to grow to. And then it's very linear. You just go to different areas and you continue your growth. Oh, as you can see, though, it's very.
So you have a health bar.
Yeah, you can totally die.
Okay.
Platforming gets increasingly difficult as you go along. For now, I'm just avoiding, these lasers. That's sort of introducing to the idea that
you're sort of in the smarter kids' rooms now.
You can break laser beams, which is going to become important. That's the thing, is it's a combination of platforming.
That guy looks way smarter than the other guy.
As well as he's at least drinking red strip. But yeah, forgivable checkpoints, as you can see as well.
You break up through that?
Yeah, probably. Or break down through it. That's what I gotta do. Let's see. Go over here. Checkpoint. absorb these.
That's a lot of,
and then
quite a few
jump
pills
and
right
slam
there.
through.
Oh, I see.
Vent will carry me up.
So, I mean, how long until the point where you're basically eating buildings and things like that?
It takes a while. It does take you do have to play for a while before that happens, but I mean, the whole game's not very long.
Oh.
Like, that's just a secret that I probably am not going to take the time to get right now. But there are rewards if you can do really agile platforming, which God. Yeah, and like I said, it gets very hard. Oh, I need to jump over those, not into them.
Oh, you lost your cork.
I gotta be silent for a second. All right.
This is just like Counter-Strike.
Yeah, pretty much. This is like it requires a lot of elite crouching, and headshots really do mean everything.
Yeah. Oh, there you go with more laser blocking that you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean the game, like I said, it starts off really simple, but later on it gets really hard. Like there are whole levels where you actually I need to see how you do this because this is so okay. So here's where you actually have to use the mouse. So there are levels where you have to actually like control. You're basically using your blob's mind powers to move things. On the Vita, that's actually done.
That's touchscreen.
Touchscreen,
I assume.
Yeah. So that's some of the only cases where you'd have to use the mouse.
Get off the screen, mouse.
Yeah, sorry. We don't want your kind.
Do you eventually run into boss fights and things like that in the game as well? It seems like it might be the style of game to have that, although I don't know how that would work with these mechanics really.
Yeah, and not that it's been a while since I played it because I was like the only thing I played on my Vita at launch. But in my experience, no. Like there's no real boss fights. It's more just about like getting through and surviving a level. Like that's the really hard part, and trust me, it gets ridiculously hard later on. But yeah, I mean it really. Oh God. So yeah, as you can see, I'm already bigger.
So you fight enemies as well.
Yeah, there are definitely rooms like this where you have to. Well.
Oh, and you've got a chasing laser beam.
I was gonna say it's less about fighting enemies, Charles, and more about doing things and not sucking.
Just like a Mega Man level.
Yeah, actually, yeah. I was gonna say this game is kind of like Mega Man in some ways. There we go.
Oh, you just got a badge. Oh, you're back into the party area.
Want that burger? No time.
No. There's no time for burgers.
But like I said, the levels are really short, and as you can see, I've already started progressing in size. And you know,
the frat cave.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So yeah, you know, it's very quick. You know, it's like the type of simple thing that you can just sit down and just play one level after the other. Obviously, a great portable experience, but it actually works pretty good on PC as well.
Yeah. Are you happy with the version, I guess, and the options available to you?
Yeah, I feel like it's a little bit easier to control on Vita, but this isn't like a bad version. Oh, hey, pay attention to how you swing things, Anthony. Don't kill yourself.
All right, there we go.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely not a bad port. It's just it's quite a bit different. So, but yeah, I don't know. Mutant Blobs attacks not bad. How about we just say that? That's how I feel about it. I mean, $10, that's really not a bad price by any means either. Oh, I see what they're wanting me to do.
Figure it out. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Peanuts.
Yeah, so I mean, you do have to actually think about things in this game, which is what I like. You know, it does require a little bit of thinking. It's got a really adorable art style. It's super cute.
So yeah, it's got the type of challenge curve that is it's not all at once, but it's well done so that you are basically familiar. It doesn't throw everything at you at once. They basically know how to progress the challenge level, so it always feels like you're kind of learning something new, I guess.
Right. Yeah, they really do. I mean, you know, like I said, now they've introduced this fact where I have to sit here and control these things, spin this wheel to do things, but eventually they'll also turn that into like that'll be timed. You know, for now it's not timed, but eventually it'll be timed, and how fast I can do that and whether I can do that, you know, and be agile about it. I see what I need.
Is there any multiplayer or anything like that, or it's just basically this solo mode?
No, it's just a single player game. It is a very simple sort of experience, but intentionally so.
Sure.
But yeah.
Cool. So that's on Steam, right?
It's on Steam right now. $10. Oh, okay. Hey,
fail.
Don't do what I did.
Fail. Okay, cool. Well, thanks for a look at that game, Anthony, and thank you for listening/watching to this episode of Command Prompt. And hopefully we will be back next week which will most likely be it's
going to involve Guild Wars.
It's going. The same thing just happened.
Charles, it's hard for me to think right now.
Which, yeah, I mean, next week is probably going to be a lot about Guild Wars. I'll be reviewing Guild Wars for IGN. Guild Wars 2, mind you. I'm not doing a Guild Wars 1 retro review at this point. So that's a big game.
Yeah, good luck with that. But that's looking like a really fantastic MMO.
Yeah, I hope it turns out. I hope it turns out really well. I've played in a couple beta weekends so far, and it's been great. And I've played with all of the professions, which are just classes in that game, and I really like the Guardian. I wasn't a huge fan of like the Necro. I thought the Necro was a little weird, probably because I just didn't play with the Necro enough. But I very much look forward to seeing. Oh, now you're a balloon.
Yeah. Like I said, they add a lot of different mechanics. You eventually can float and fly, and it changes the way it plays quite a bit as well.
Nice. But yeah, I really look forward to being able to see the content that's really beyond the initial starting experience, and really see how the world versus world mode, which basically pits 3 servers against each other in this huge open-scale PvP combat zone, how that all works out once the game is live. So we will have many updates on that topic next week, and probably in the next episode of Command Prompt on IGN.